Hello and welcome to the second module. This is all about editing. Absolutely vital. Can't stress it enough. It doesn't have to be difficult though. It doesn't have to be challenging. The craft of creative writing, the essence of it, the true work comes in the editing. There's a lot to talk about, but I've condensed what I can into this module because the final module on this course is only about writing a complete piece, which is 50 words. So there's lots that we don't need to worry about right now. I might mention a few bits now for you just to understand and get ready for if you decide to go a little bit further and head towards the next course, which will be to complete 500 words. But let's not get into that right now. Let's not confuse things. Enjoy the module. Don't forget to pause where needs be and take part in all the activities. What you don't do is you don't get stressed about it. Editing your work is an enjoyable experience once you know what you're doing. I promise you. And it's better to do with a little bit of knowledge and with a positive attitude and to learn about your writing while you edit. That is the key. And what are you looking for most of the time? Spelling and punctuation, syntax, narration and tenses, trimming the fat and killing your babies. We are not going to cover all of those things today because the third module is all about creating a 50-word piece of non-fiction. We don't need to learn them all. We don't need to focus on that right now. We're going to focus only on 3 points. Spelling and punctuation, syntax, and trimming the fat. Those are the 3 points that are going to help you to be able to edit your final piece that you complete in the next module. The other points on the editing slide, of course, you can research yourself or you can look into in the next course. But let me tell you, your friends and family and peers within writing groups are going to help you a lot. You're going to find a really helpful way to communicate with your readers by giving them questions and points to consider when reading your work, and they will cover a lot. But you cannot expect them to read a first draft. It is absolutely your job and no one else's to get it reader ready. It's your responsibility. But as I have mentioned already, it doesn't need to be stressful, and it is an enjoyable experience because you are learning about your writing as you go deeper into it. And this is your first lesson right now. The key to successful editing is reading out loud. You will see so many mistakes and find so many errors by reading it out loud. Depends what type of personality you are to how you'll go about it. Maybe you're an extrovert and you can really get into playing each part, and maybe you're not. Either way, you need to read it out. Spelling and punctuation. Spelling mistakes are harder to spot than you might think. Just do your best. You'll get there eventually, and reading out loud, of course, is key. Look out for overused words such as because, but, like, that, and many more. A comma or a full stop will usually do the same job and create the desired effect. When you are reading out loud, if you turn red in the face, it's likely you need more full stops. You will figure this out for yourself. But punctuation in general, semicolons and such, they are to be used sparingly. And now and again, occasionally, keep things simple. And for me personally, I use single speech marks, such as, "I'll put the kids to bed," Dave said, or double speech marks or inverted commas. And then Dave said, "I'll put the kids to bed. I couldn't believe it," Sarah said. Okay, that is a quotation within speech, and that's why it requires double. Syntax, you might have heard this word before and never given it much thought, but it's actually very important. Here's an example of incorrect sentence structure. Dave leaned over and the baby's face he wiped. Unless you are writing dialogue for Yoda out of Star Wars, that is incorrect. He's the only person that gets away with it. A nice simple definition: the arrangement of words and phrases to create well-formed sentences in a language. Now let's do an editing activity and work through the first 2 points. On the next slide, you're going to see a chunk of writing that is littered with errors. I want you to pause the activity and just read off the screen, get a pen and pad rather than trying to do it on a computer. Read it through and see how many errors that you can spot. Please pause it now. How many changes did you find? Was it obvious? I hope you read it out loud. You should have found quite a few things, especially some obvious spelling mistakes, but please pause the presentation again now. Have a read with this, have a little flip back, make some comparisons, because the next exercise is going to be about trimming the fat. We're going to take it a little bit further. Welcome back. The final point, trimming the fat, so important, especially when you go into the final module and you're creating your full 50-word piece of flash non-fiction, because you are going to overwrite. And the exercise that's going to come up in a minute is going to give you an insight into how to trim the fat and how important it is and how it can really change a piece of writing. Like with the first example, I would like you to please take your time, read through this chunk of writing and make some notes and make some edits wherever you can, and maybe even rewrite the full thing out on a piece of paper in a way that takes into account the 3 points that you've learned. So please pause it now. And welcome back again. So immediately you should look at this and see that it's significantly smaller. It's been tightened up. The fat has been trimmed. Don't know where that came from. And I've also added a few other little elements to it as well, just to give it that little bit of a bump, a little bit of mood. Please pause it now, read this and compare it to the other piece. Thank you. So here we are, you've made it to the end of the second module. All that's left to do now is produce some writing and put what you have learned to the test. There's nothing else to say here. Head over to the final module and get started on your writing journey. Congratulations, you're doing fantastic.